Hello everyone, Kentucky Patriot here again. I just want to make a quick video of my thoughts about open carry and concealed carry. We hear a whole lot about that, and that's kind of a topic that folks feel very strongly about. There's folks that almost get aggravated at the thought that somebody would open carry. That's crazy. That gives away your gun. That hides the element of surprise, and they get really upset that somebody would carry open carry. And they say there's no use for it. And there's other on the other side of it, which is the stance that the NRA takes, that open carry should be illegal or legal. I'm sorry, that open carry should be legal, should be allowed, should be. If somebody wants to practice that, it's totally up to them. Well, what we've got to remember, I think, is a couple things. Is one is where we're at, and number two is that you represent the whole gun community. So every individual makes up the gun community, and when we do something, that maybe might bring a negative light, it shines a negative light on the entire community. Okay, and what I'm saying by that is, just basically you use common sense. Okay, and just because something is legal, that doesn't mean it's a great idea. You say, well, it's legal. Well, it may be, but let's think about what we're doing here. I know we're a small channel. I know this won't get to everybody. Maybe this will spark a discussion, or people will maybe shed a little bit of light on it. But basically what I'm saying is something being legal and not a good idea. It's legal for me to go buy a case of pop. So every day I can go buy a 12-pack of pop and drink a whole case of pop every day. Well, it's legal, but it's probably not a good idea when I start having my blood sugar spikes, when I start having all those extra calories, when I start having kidney stones. Now, I'm not against pop. I'm not saying it's wrong for you to have pop, but just because it's legal to drink 12 cans of pop a day does not mean it's a great idea. So now here in where I live in Kentucky, very gun-friendly state, nobody really has an issue with guns. They just don't. It's not a taboo subject, But this is personally my stance on it. Like me, I always carry concealed. I always carry concealed. I'm a concealed carry guy. But I'm also one of these guys that always have a gun. So there's times when I mow grass or I take a hike in the woods that I don't want it inside the waistband or something that's uncomfortable. So I may move it to the outside, open carry. Okay. So if I'm out here mowing my grass, and I'm on the riding lawnmower, and I'm hot and sweaty, it's in the middle of July, and let's say a belt on my lawnmower breaks, I'm not going to come in, stop mowing grass, shower, change my clothes, and put on a concealed carry rig so I'm not hot and sweaty inside the waistband just to go down to the parts store. Where I'm at, if I'm hot and sweaty and I've got a gun on my side and I run down to the parts store to pick up a belt, the clerk's not going to be uncomfortable. If there's women and kids in there, they're not going to be uncomfortable. No, it's not an issue here. It's really not. So even though I always carry concealed 99.9% of the time, there is times, like I said, I'm not going to come in and change my whole wardrobe, to change my whole carry rig just to run down and get a belt for my lawnmower. It's fine here. Matter of fact, we had a little festivity here in my hometown, and there was a guy that was walking around town open carry. And I actually happened to talk to a judge. And the judge asked me if I seen that individual. And I said, yes, sir, I sure did. The judge now, and it's not everywhere. I understand we're not in California or New York or Chicago. The judge told me out of his own mouth, he said, it made me feel safer. He said, because you know what? Nobody's going to try nothing when they know somebody's packing. And he looked around and he said, yes. He said, that's why. He said, he normally carries, but he said, I don't today. He said, I'm sure there's plenty of guns around there. And I had one concealed. He didn't know it, but I had one. So we're very pro gun here for the most part where we live. So like I said, open carry is not that big of an issue. But normally I do carry concealed. I think there's several advantages. But really I wanted to make this video to say, even though I'm not against open carry, and I don't think it's wrong, I think you've got to use common sense with it. But just because it's legal does not mean it's a good idea. And what I mean by that is there was a gentleman and his daughter that was at an airport, and he was carrying a AR-15 with a 100-round Betamax. Now, people can argue, well, that's legal. That was totally legal for him to do. Well, I'm going to be honest with you, and you can call me whatever, but I'm going to be as honest with you if I can be. If I'm in an airport and I see a man with an AR-15, that to me is a threat. I didn't know. You know what I mean? That to me, that sheds a bad light on everybody. And then they were like, well, security was watching him, and he kept saying, well, that he wasn't. But here's the thing. The anti-gunners see that, and they'll say, that's exactly why we shouldn't have guns. Who's carrying? And really, what are you doing? Even if it's legal, why would you carry? And you know how I feel about the AR-15. I made a video about the AR-15. There's nothing wrong with the AR-15. If you use it for home defense, if you carry it in your truck, there's a contracting company here locally, and that's what they do. They carry one in their truck. Their armed detail, and they carry one in their vehicle. So there's a time and place for all things. But why would you walk in public with an open AR-15 and say, well, it's open carry is legal? But just because it's legal, that is very out of place, and you don't need that. Same thing with the issue with the coffee shops. The coffee shops, they weren't even in the issue. They didn't care one way or the other. They didn't say your guns are welcome. They didn't say no guns allowed. They're there to sell coffee. They're a business. They're there to make money. So they didn't care what you done. Well, what happened was people found out that they didn't care, that they had their guns in there. So you had guys bringing in your AR-15s and your AK-47s into the coffee shop. The coffee shop then bans guns, says no guns allowed. Well, then everybody gets mad at the coffee shop because they're anti-gun. Well, not really. It's because of how we handle ourselves sometimes that it sheds a bad light. Like I said, if here where I live, if somebody runs downtown and they're hot and sweaty, been working on their car to pick up a belt for their mower, that's a whole different ballgame than somebody walking in with an AR-15. Because I'm going to be honest, if my kid worked at a coffee shop, or even if I was behind the counter and I seen some guy walking in with an AR-15, man, I'm on high alert. With all shootings, and I'm the most pro-gun guy that there is. I'm the biggest fan the NRA has. Life member, love the NRA, go to their convention. So he's not really pro-2A. He's not really pro-Second Amendment. Yes, I am. I love the Second Amendment. I love the Constitution. I'm very patriotic, but just because something's legal, you've got to use sense. And I'm going to be honest with you as I can be. I'm the most pro-gun guy there is. But if you've got a guy beside me fooling with his AR and playing with his AK, I have an issue with that, because most of the guys like that aren't really gun guys anyway. I'm going to be honest with you and just tell it like it is. It's my channel, so I got freedom of speech. I'm just going to tell it like I honestly believe it. Most of those guys aren't gun guys anyway. Most of those guys probably aren't even in the NRA, and most of those guys aren't shooters. You know what they've done? They've bought a gun, and they think, man, I'm going to impress this girl behind the counter, or I'm going to look cool here in public, or I'm going to get my picture and post it on Facebook. But you're shedding light on, so when the media gets a hold of that, you shed us in a bad light, and the media then pushes their gun agenda on everybody else that is law-abiding citizens, that is, carrying concealed, got our permits that nobody knows about. But you just shed a bad light on us, and now the media comes in and says, this is why you've got to ban guns. There's a guy with an AR-15 with a beta mag, 100-round beta mag, walking around the airport. And if you are a gun guy and you are a shooter, and you get a new gun, I know you're feeling. All of us gun guys are the same. The guys I work with, it's just protocol. When you get a new gun, you bring it in, we all shoot it and try it out. We all get excited about it. And even if it's not our gun, we still get to shoot somebody, and we get excited about it. So we understand that. But if you're in a coffee shop and you just got your Rock River in, or you just went and bought you a new AK and you're just thrilled about it, and your buddy meets you there to have coffee, just say, hey man, come here, I want to show you something. Walk out, don't get it out in the parking lot and point it, name it, but just say, hey, I want to show you something, and walk out here with them. Open the trunk or whatever and say, hey, look what I got today. This is my new Rock River. I've been wanting for a long time, or whatever. Right now, I'm not here selling Rock River. I'm just making the point. Let's get us a coffee, and we'll take us to the range and shoot it afterwards. That's how you handle it. Nobody has a problem with that. But when you come in a town blazing an AK-47, it is because, you don't know people's mindset. You don't know what they're doing with that. You don't know they're just open carrying. And so, I'm not against the Second Amendment, obviously. I'm not against open carry. I've even done it a few times myself. Most of the time I carry concealed. But I'm not even against open carry. And if a guy's got a pistol on his side, that doesn't offend me. But like I said, guys, you are representing the Second Amendment. You are representing all gun owners. So when you carry open AR-15 in an airport, man, the media just eats that up and beats everybody up for it. And you say, well, it's legal, it's my right. But here's the thing, the big push with the anti-gunners now, and we need to be seen as level-headed, upstanding citizens. That's not a threat. That's not causing problems. It's not causing coffee shops to say no guns allowed. But we want to set the example and to say, hey, and I know that does not represent the majority. That is by far the minority. But that's what the media uses, the minority. And we just want to shed it in a good light. And again, I'm not after nobody. I'm not trying to be controversial. But that's something that really needs to be addressed, because that does not represent all gun owners. But even though that might be the minority, that still is the shining the light and shedding the light on all gun owners, and people are looking at that and saying, see, that's why we need to ban guns. But and even in open carry, somebody probably just walked in with a pistol on their side, nobody would have said anything. But when you start brandishing guns, again, those people probably aren't gun guys, they're probably not shooters. They probably don't know that the magazine, a lot of times, in handguns and rifles, can be out of the gun and won't be in the chamber and it's still fire. They probably don't have muzzle discipline. They probably got their finger on the trigger, and here you are trying to have a coffee with your wife or your kids, and somebody's over there with a weapon pointed in every direction, and they're probably not practicing a bit of gun safety. And I'm going to be honest with you, I can't blame the coffee shops. I wouldn't want an AK-47 in there either. Some guy just blazing around. I don't know him. I don't know what his intents are. So having said all that, just know your laws. And just think about things before you do it, because just because it's legal doesn't mean it's a good idea. I didn't mean to rant or go on too long, but I love this country. I love the Constitution. I love gun owners. I love the NRA. But let me tell you, they are trying to whittle away at our rights and our Constitution. So let's not give them any ammo. Let's not give them any fuel for the fire. Let's be upright citizens. Let's use common sense. And may God bless you. The Kentucky Patriot signing off.